Greetings, kindred. I am Voivode Paquette, and welcome to our world of darkness. Doulahan is unfortunately not with us today because he had a little bit of a roll off his pedestal and needs some repair, but he will be back. But I wanted to film today's video first because it's getting a little late in the day, and I want to make sure that I get this up for you on time. Now, today is going to be an interesting little mix of things. We haven't had a clan discussion in a while, and I plan on having that, but it's also going to handle a lore sheet, and also a little bit of meta plot. So we're jumping all over the damn place today. And what I would like to discuss is the Daughters of Cacophony. Now, this has been coming up, and I've been going back and forth on whether or not I was going to do a video on this, but I really feel like it needs to be out there. The Daughters of Cacophony are a very interesting bloodline that have a very murky history. There are Dark Age theories of where they came from. There are Victorian Age theories and Renaissance theories. They go anywhere from being a Toreador who embraced a Fey lifestyle and were gifted with the voice of the Sidhe to Malkavian experimentation on Kindred, and I've seen a Renaissance story of Ventrue who found a way of reaching through the ranks of society through artists instead of politicians. Another one that I've seen is that they're a bloodline of Clan Bali, which is an interesting take on things. But it's all very unclear all around when it comes to where they came from. Now, it was brought to my attention recently, within the last couple of days, by the community member SP, that the Sons of Discord, the male version of the Daughters, were in fact a homebrew of sorts. Basically, not mechanics-wise, but the idea that males would be a part of this. Now, the Sons of Discord, also known as the Baritones, I've seen. What I've been able to find on like the White Wolf wiki and stuff like that is that they were brought in as canon during the 2010s. Now, that's strange to me because I learned about them in the 2nd edition revised Vampire the Masquerade Mind's Eye Theater Laws of the Night, which was published well before then. In fact, I was playing it in 2004. So that's strange. In fact, I think it was like 2003, 2004, around that area I was playing as Son of Discord from the book. So I'm not 100% sure how accurate the wiki is on that one. And I always do take anything that the wiki says with a grain of salt. Now, since then, in V5, in Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, the Sons of Discord have not been noticed. Neither have the Daughters of Cacophony. In 20th Anniversary edition of Vampire the Masquerade, which I don't cover very often, the Daughters have begun to embrace males. The common lore was that over time that the Daughters started to eradicate the males. So the fact that 20th Anniversary has brought it open for individuals, for males to play them, is pretty interesting. But again, we don't have anything for 5th edition, and that's where today's main topic comes in, and that is the website wordsofdarkness.com. Wordsofdarkness.com is, from all I can tell, a completely fan-made website. And their tagline is, "You found the abyss, and it's found you," which I think is very nice and spooky. It says here, the Words of Darkness website is devoted to bringing you quality content on the games in the Worlds of Darkness, such as Vampire the Masquerade, Mage the Ascension, and Werewolf the Apocalypse, and all the rest. We hope to bring you things that enrich your game, improve your craft as a player, as a storyteller, or both. We'll be aiming to have new content up every week. I don't think this has happened. I'm not really sure how much they've actually been working on it, unfortunately. It does look like the very last thing that was updated on this website was, in fact, the Daughters of Cacophony Bloodline, which was put up on September 2nd, 2020. So It's been a little bit of time. It's been almost half a year since we've had any updates on this website, and I don't know if they've lost interest, if people just aren't there, if they've given it up, if this is a dead site. I'm not sure. All I know is what I have seen on it is some pretty cool stuff, and I want to focus primarily on that last thing they put up, which they have titled "The Daughters of the Choir," a V5 Bloodline update. This is Daughters of Cacophony updated for the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade. Now, the way they do it is a little bit different. We're not looking at a standard bloodline. This actually would almost fit into the Cult of the Blood God book. Now, what it says is Daughters of the Choir. Not Daughters of Cacophony, but Daughters of the Choir. Prerequisite. Your character's clan must be initially chosen as a Malkavian, a Toreador, or Ventrue. This becomes referred to as your parent clan. It is important to understand that your character may or may not present themselves as a member of their parent clan, and may or may not present themselves as a member of the Daughters of the Choir. I like that because it's not that they are a bloodline, but that they could very well be Malkavian, Toreador, or Ventrue, and it's more of like a secret organization kind of deal, and I like that. It takes it away from a lot of things, but I can understand also why a lot of vampires would consider this to be a bloodline. Now, with the way that amalgams work, and we will be getting into the discipline here soon, the idea of clan-specific disciplines brought out because of different ways of using the discipline. That's what it's all about. Vicissitude is Protean, where you're dominating your beast to come out in specific ways. The discipline of chymistry is literally you forcing your presence onto other people through the hallucination-inducing gifts of obfuscate. And that's so cool. And Melpomene fits so neatly into that. So, it goes on to say that this group of kindred, considered by some to be a small bloodline, is a closely guarded secret, especially as the elders continue to vanish from the halls of power. What is left is a loosely associated congregation of individual vampires that have managed to covertly blend in with the social structures of both the Ivory Tower and the Anarch movement. I love that due to the fact that the children, sorry, I keep saying the children, the Daughters of Cacophony have never really been considered part of a city sect. They have always been, I am here, who's ever in charge is in charge. As long as I get to perform, that's all that matters to me. And this really dictates the passion. So this is a group of autarchist, Ventrue, Malkavian, and Toreador. And that's just such an interesting concept because it's a whole sect in and of itself, although very small. Now, the daughters stay hidden from public view, claiming to be members of other clans that make judicious use of the same vocal abilities, but are the true masters of the voice. And the reason that is because they are using a fun little mix between dominate, auspex, and presence, which is just great, because that is Toreador, Ventrue, and Malkavian. Whether it be through their traditional expression, song, through the appreciation for swaying crowds, speech, or through other means of speech, the daughters understand the true power that lies within the voice. That's neat because it is the idea of the siren. Disciplines. Replace your parent clan's disciplines with the following: dominate, auspex, and presence. See Melpomene Amalgam for presence, because it is presence which is going to be the primary aspect of this discipline. Bane. Replace your parents' clan Bane with the following Bane instead. And before I get into that, I do want to say that I think that is interesting. I think this would be layered on your discipline, or on your clan Bane. I don't really see it replacing. I'm not really sure how you would do that, but I mean, I guess this would work, but I have a hard time really seeing I really have a hard time seeing the Ventrue being able to get over the feeding issue of their clan bane. So, constant song. All sirens are subject to the curse of their clan founders, but they rarely view it as such a bad thing. The siren song is a tune that stays with them always, a soundtrack that is forever playing. Most of the time, the music is able to be ignored or turned down, such that the daughters can barely hear it, though it never completely goes away. But when she loses focus, you roll a bestial failure or a compulsion, the tune gets turned up to 11 and distracts them greatly from any action that goes against the music. So pretty much it's situational depending on the individual daughter. For some, this would mean that acts of violence take a 2 dice penalty. But if the song is a battle epic, it may mean that a mental plus social rolls that would interfere with combat are penalized by 2 dice instead. I like the idea of the genre of song really being what's at play there. Now that can't change. It's your character. So you need to decide if your character is, I would say, a romantic at heart, a intense mental adversary at heart, or a warrior at heart. Those kind of things. Those types. Because what here says, like, if your theme song is a battle epic, anything that you're not fighting, you're going to be 2 traits down in. So it's a very debilitating bane when you stop and think about how driven your life has to be when you're living by your music. The PC should work with the storyteller to determine the overall theme of the constant song. In addition, the siren will usually be rolling at a -1 die penalty rolls using awareness. So that's just like a constant bane, not just when you roll, a bestial failure or compulsion. Now here we go. This is the Bloodline lore sheet, which is, I feel so weird reading this on a Thursday because it's typically a Monday thing. But Bloodline lore sheet, Daughters of the Choir. Prerequisite, Malkavian, Toreador, or Ventrue only. Now, this being said, Daughters of the Choir, I think I would personally mark it down as Children of the Choir, which I think I might have said before. But Children of the Choir opens it up to being both the Daughters of Cacophony or the Sons of Discord. I would just completely eliminate the whole hatred of the other simply because of the gender. I don't think that has a place in Vampire the Masquerade, but perhaps if it was written into the actual history of this incredibly vague bloodline, maybe I would accept it. But given the fact that it's so loose and open, I don't see why that's a thing. Even if the founder of the Daughters of Cacophony hated it, I don't see her active right now anyway. Therefore, I don't see it being a big thing. The Daughters of the Choir entered the kindred scene of the 1700s as far as most can tell. Their origins are shrouded in mystery, and most kindred that know of their existence assume that they are an offshoot of the Toreador, Malkavian, or Ventrue blood. Some think they come from all 3 of these. In modern nights, the daughters have found it necessary to be more clear in declaring their allegiance to a sect. As such, the elders of the bloodline have begun a long process of arranging meetings to determine what is best for all of them. So it seems to me that they are actually trying to get into who are they going to join. Basically, they're in the same situation as the Banu Hakim or the Ministry, is that they're trying to figure out where exactly they're going to fall. Now, if you put 1 point into this lore sheet, you get voices unseen. As a daughter, the voice is everything. The first thing that any daughter learns is to communicate with their companions. Once per story, a daughter may rouse the blood to speak words that are heard by any number of willing individuals up to her blood potency, regardless of how far away they might be. I don't personally see a point in doing this once per story. I like this, but it does seem that this right here should be like a once per session kind of thing. If you put 2 points into this lore sheet, you get hiding in plain sight. The daughters of the choir are known to exist, but are rarely seen. In actuality, they are seen all the time, but not often recognized. Once per story, when a daughter may be recognized as such by an NPC, she may gain +3 dice on a roll to convince the character that she is actually just a member of a different clan. That, again, is one of those things where I think I agree with the once per story on this one, simply because you don't want to do that ever. Eventually, that's just going to get worn thin. But really, are you really going to make that so it's specifically against NPCs only? I mean, that tells me that the storyteller is planning on fucking you over, which is not cool. Even if you are doing some kind of hiding in plain sight character, the storyteller should be aware of these things and catch you on flaws, but they shouldn't be hunting you down. And I understand that this is not necessarily saying that the storyteller is hunting you down, but also, why are they hunting you down if that was the case? Like, it just seems like it. It's portrayed that way to me. Investing 3 points into this lore sheet gives you performance of a lifetime. Daughters make the best singers and orators in Kindred society, and their performances can sway whole crowds. Once per chronicle, a daughter may, while giving a performance, add 2 successes to an already successful roll. However, doing so has a great chance of outing the daughter as being part of the bloodline. Again, I really wouldn't call this a bloodline, because you can be a member of a clan. This is, in fact, more of an organization of multiple clans. And I feel I'm a little off on this one, simply because it says once per chronicle. That's a story. That sucks. I mean, that's not a story. That's the entire collection of stories. You can only do this once in your character's existence. That's what that says to me. Plus, you're only adding 2 successes to already successful rolls. So, I'm not really sure what the whole point of that is going to be. Investing 4 points into this bloodline, you get Virtuoso. Look at your character's parent clan and determine which ability is assigned. Your character has learned the true origin of the daughters, or at least what you believe to be the true origin of the daughters of the choir. It is your duty to tell the bloodline of their true origins, and other daughters may know of you and come to you for guidance. Malkavians. If your parent clan is Malkavian, the Song of Madness is strong within the player character. They gain a +1 dice on all Auspex rolls, but when they fail any Auspex roll, they immediately suffer from their bane. Toreador, the Song of Passion, is strong in that PC. She gains a +1 dice to all presence rolls, but when she fails any presence roll, she must test for Frenzy at a difficulty of 3. If your parent clan is Adventure, you get the Song of Power, which is a +1 dice to all Dominate rolls. But when you fail any Dominate roll, you suffer a 1 trait dice penalty on all rolls until you succeed in future Dominate attempts. The penalty should last for like a few minutes to the scene or longer. If you invest 5 points into this lore sheet, you get the Choir Director, which is actually pretty cool. The character is chosen by the elders of the Daughters of the Choir to take an active role in guiding to the future of the bloodline. She speaks with their authority and is recognized as such by kindred in position of power that she may be in discussion with regarding the bloodline. Given such authority means she also has access to secrets of the daughters. Once per story, the Siren may re-roll a failed attempt to use any Auspex, Dominate, or Presence ability. That's major. That could mean so much to so many different situations of being able to like control someone, persuading someone, or investigating something. The idea that it really does hold the 3 clans that have created the choir in in honor what this actually does. It's not just like, oh, music. It's so much more than that for this. And I love music. Music dictates most of my life. But the idea that this will actually help you to use these mental and social disciplines to such an extent is just something that I never would have thought of before. Discipline expansion. Dominate 3. Melpomene. Presence 4. Amalgam. Irresistible voice. So this is a dominate power, but you have to use irresistible voice to be able to convey it. With this power, the full range of dominate and presence abilities becomes open to the Daughter of Cacophony. This power grants the user the ability to immediately gain one other dominate or presence power that they don't already know, ignoring amalgam requirements and obeying current discipline limits. So, you can still only have up to 5, depending on your generation. That's why it says current discipline limits. But you don't have to worry about what you already have. If it's an amalgam that you're after, and you don't have the prerequisites, you can take anything that you want to on that. Like, you could take any presence or dominate. Now, you got to be careful. You cannot take anything that is an amalgam that takes those disciplines to use, but you can take an amalgam that is a base on this discipline. And what I mean by that is by using, like, dominate as an example here, you could, like, Melpomene is a dominate amalgam, but a prerequisite is presence. I'm sorry if I'm beating this into the ground. I just feel like that's something that really needs to be understood when it comes to this. Now, it goes a little better than that, because it's not just, oh, you get an extra level of presence or dominate as you're chosen. It goes much, much deeper than that. But the deeper the strength herein is that the user of Melpomene may permanently spend experience on purchasing any and all levels of dominate and presence up to their normal generation maximum. This means that the Daughters of Cacophony may, with time and experience, learn all 18 plus powers of these disciplines. This discipline is a closely guarded secret of the Sirens, who fear what the clans would do to them if they knew the daughters were in possession of all the secrets the voice can unlock. That is just such a freaking gnarly gift. And disgusting. I don't know if I 100% agree with it, because that does let you just open up anything. That lets you continuously learn everything. Like it said, at the time of this writing in September 2000, 18 plus powers of these disciplines. That was before the companion came out. That's well before the Sabbat Guide comes out this August. This means that you have access to all dominate and all everything. This is just such a neat thing, and I'm not 100% saying that, oh, you guys definitely need to take this. This is fun. This is really awesome, but hear me out. Hear me out. You are stuck to normal generation requirements, which means if you are, let's just say, a 13th gen through a 9th gen, which seems to be the most accessible generations, then what you're looking at is 10 powers active in each. So I'm not 100% sure why it says the full range 18 plus powers, because the way that 5th edition is actually set up, let's just say that you do have an elder. Let's go ahead and say that the Gehenna War is over. You're no longer losing your elders back and forth with the idea that that kind of thing is completely finished. Then if you're playing an elder and you have 5 levels, and instead of buying an elder level of a discipline, you could go back and buy another level of that discipline that you missed. The idea is that if you have all 5 levels, but your generation allows you to have 6 levels, it's not elder specific or anything like that. It's just you're able to go back and get more powers. You're able to go back and get more capabilities, which also leaves open the idea of other amalgams over time. So just keep that into consideration. And I don't think that was actually thought of when they were writing this discipline, because it kind of shatters discipline. It kind of shatters generational limits, because that's what the generational limits are in 5th edition. So anyway, this was my first look at a homebrew Vampire the Masquerade thing. And I gotta say, like, as somebody who played A Son of Discord for quite a while and enjoyed the hell out of it, I would have loved to have had this kind of thing here. And hell, if my storyteller was dumb enough to let me have that level of the way Melpomene works on this, I would have freaking jumped right at it. But you could cause so much trouble with Melpomene as it is. So yeah. Anyway, so I really just wanted to showcase the kind of stuff that you can find on wordsofdarkness.com, and I highly suggest that everybody goes there and checks out what they have. It's not much, but it's good. And I think that it might have been, if I am right and they're not working on that site anymore, because like I said, it doesn't look like it's been touched since September of 2020, it might have just been lack of interest. And this site does not deserve lack of interest. This site deserves to be descended upon like vultures. Like, seriously, go on there, check out their stuff, leave some comments, leave some love for these people, because they put a lot of work into this. And regardless of whether or not I agree with most of it, it's opened me up to ideas. The ideas that some of these bloodlines could just be lore sheets and put into it, that they're not actually bloodlines, but more along the lines of smaller organizations. I'm not going to jump right in, print this thing out, and go, hey guys, this is available to my troop, or anything like that. But it does give me hope that players can do things like this that could be allowed into games, and not only be entertaining for them, but also for the other players and the storyteller also. That this can be a fulfilling additive to anybody's game. So check them out, wordsofdarkness.com, link in the description. Amazing people. Just amazing work that they did on this. Check out their NPCs and all that junk. But I am Voivode Maquette. This is our World of Darkness, and thank you for joining me for a clan discussion. It's been a while. Good evening.